Happy Thursday, everybody. My name is Jonathan Sawyer with Cinco Squad. With me are my boys, Mike DeSanto, Jamie P. Pat and a half forgot his hat, so he's not going to join us today. And, Team Money Trey, he'll be here eventually.
When you least expect it.
Sweet.
How's your Thursday so far? How's your week been?
Been a long week already, man.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, right.
I feel that.
Yes,
I feel that, man. So, everyone, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We got winners and losers. I know, 2 weeks in a row. Then we got AFC, NFC North conversation to talk about who we got winning the division, who we think is going to be a sleeper, who is who in the division, right? I think those divisions are a toss-up, really, right? And then we have our new segment called Keep Trade Cut of Greatest of All Time, and that's going to go to our boy Mikey Mike and his baseball picks tonight. So stay tuned. And of course, we have Stump the Squad.
Yeah.
As per usual. As per usual.
We gotta do this stop. We gotta do our own bell. Like,
We gotta do our own
Ding, ding,
bell.
ding, 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 ding.
Pat took his bell with his hat. So, but everyone, thank you for joining us. It's gonna be a great show. Comment below. Follow us on our social media channels here in the corners: Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And let's get this show rolling.
Yeah,
Fellas,
sir.
you already know what I'm about to ask you. What you sipping on, Jay?
Well, I got that Vita Coco coconut water because I gotta keep it, PG. Also, I've been trying to clean out this week because I haven't been feeling that great. So I'm keeping it nice and fresh with my Vita Coco water. It actually tastes great. Got it out the fridge. It's cold. It's delicious.
Cold and delicious.
Mike, what you sipping on?
Well, I got to bring the sweetness to the show.
Sweetness.
So, we are having another Smirnoff Ice, but
oh boy. He bought the variety pack.
It's pink lemonade.
Is it Smirnoff? What is it? What flavor is it?
Pink lemonade.
Is it good?
Very. It tastes like pink lemonade, like straight pink lemonade.
Very.
I think the best part of Mike's what you're sipping on is he never really tries his actual drink until he gets on.
Yeah, no, I like to keep it. I like to keep
like
it.
never. He's always like.
Wait.
You gotta get one of those wine things where you spit into it and
of course
give us your taste.
Yes, but John, what you sipping on?
Where's Uncle Mike at? Come on now.
Know.
Let's see. Getting ready for the beach. I got H2O, high quality H2O, and I got more milk jug.
More milk jug. We have a fever, and the only prescription is more milk jug.
More milk jug. So I'm keeping it low. Maybe in a few weeks I'll have an alcoholic beverage, but I'm keeping it low right now. But tastes good. Ice cold water, high quality. Boys, I got a lot of losers this week. I'm not gonna lie to you. Man. Like,
you just want to change
a
it.
lot of I think it's between losers and the worst loss and the even worse loss. Man, it's been a heartbreak week for me. But I'll let all y'all go first, and then I'll go last. So, Jamie P, what you thinking?
Well, like you said, there's probably a whole lot to choose from this week. I'm probably going to pick on people I shouldn't be picking on for my losers. But I'm going to go with the U.S. junior hockey team that doesn't even get a chance not only to defend their gold medal, but they don't even get a chance to get to the medal round. They lost 4-2 to Czechia, formerly known as the Czech Republic.
So, did they really? They were running through the preliminaries, bro.
Running through the prelim rounds, and then they just end up just not even showing up for the quarterfinal game. Wow. So I got to say, to not even have a chance to win a medal or even, well, of course, not defend their gold medal, but not even get a chance to get into the medal round game. I say the U.S. hockey team comes as my losers of the week this week for not showing up in their playoff game against Czechia. And my winner, we'll probably talk about it later on in the week, definitely have to go to the Big Ten for showing that money. $7 billion contract among 3 or 4 different networks. 7-year deal, which gets them to $1 billion a year for the rights for Big Ten football to be on TV. Got to have the commissioner for doing a great job of negotiating amongst multiple networks to have them all over TV all throughout the day this year. And it should be fun for Big Ten fans this year. But $7 billion, big ones, $1 billion a year, man. That's what football is worth right now, and it is just nuts. It's only going to keep going up from here. So, congrats to the Big Ten and negotiating that monster mega deal.
That deal is ultimately just to hone on that. That deal is ultimately like a security. That hey, we're gonna do whatever it takes in the Big Ten to maintain. And it's weird too because we talk about Big Ten, we're thinking like, okay, so all sports, right? But no, it's all about football. Let's be realistic. It's all about football, and then every other sport after that. So number one, number two, it's all about that is a security blanket right there for recruits.
Yeah.
And for the NCAA to say the SEC might be gaining teams, but we're not going anywhere. We're gonna stand toe to toe with you.
From a basketball perspective, I mean, gaining UCLA coming into the Big Ten makes them legitimate in basketball right away. Michigan and Michigan State have been perennial great teams over the last 4 to 5 years that have made Final Four runs and runs to the final. So from a basketball standpoint, they are an entertaining conference that hasn't won one in recent years, but they've had multiple winners and teams getting to the Final Four almost every year, every year. So
yeah, and then USC has been making a run here over the last 5 years in basketball. So that's been, and like you said, Ohio State's getting it better, But I'm saying like this deal was mostly football, football engaged because I think ultimately they want to start having like how the SEC network, they want to start having that own channel, which is Fox. I mean, Fox in realistic form, Fox and Fox Sports 1 have been broadcasting most of the Big Ten games over the last like 10 years. Yeah. But it's been it's nice to see them actually get their channel, and in Texas bringing their own channel to SEC is huge. So it should be interesting. It should definitely be interesting. I think Siri wants to talk. Hold on, sorry. But what were you going to say about Mikey Mike?
I was going to ask Mikey Mike who is his winner and loser of the week.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so we're going to start with my loser.
Oh, boy.
My loser for the week is going to be the Carolina Panthers.
Oh.
For getting into a massive brawl in the middle of practice.
Oh, yeah.
Which risked the health of their ever-fragile running back, Christian McCaffrey, and hurt a fan who then refused medical attention, but they ended up with like a swollen foot.
Yeah, what are you doing, Christian?
Why did that even happen?
Because they do those inter-squad practices between teams, and they like run up line offense and defense. And like they talk shit to each other. So it's like ultimately, it's going to happen. Tempers are going to flare, especially because both teams suck.
Yeah.
Come on, let's be realistic. Carolina's nothing. Yeah. And same with the Patriots are the same. So.
Yeah. So the fact that you have your star player who always seems to get hurt every year.
Yeah.
And he's in the middle of this brawl is terrible for you. But my winner is a man by the name of Brett Beatty. He's a prospect called up by the New York Mets. And in his first MLB at bat, he hit himself his first MLB home run. He's supposed to be, he's like projected to be one of the next big stars for this Mets team as far as their in-house development. So if that's any indication as to what his career is going to be and what he can add to an already good Mets team, the National League and the entire league, MLB, may be in trouble.
Well, John and I were talking today about, and I was telling that the Mets GM and owners kind of had this very cocky outlook saying, we're not trying to build to win, we want to win, right? And we talked about them opening up the checkbooks. And I say, I feel like if it trickles down and the vision from on top is, hey, we're putting, not only we investing in you, but we believe in you already. I feel if it starts from there, you always have a chance to be ahead of time as opposed to like Joe building that clubhouse in Tampa and like making the players believe from that level. I think it just happens a lot faster if it trickles down all the way from the top, because then you realize that they have your back no matter what. And as a manager, I right now, of course, it hinders on DeGrom being healthy, but as a manager of that team, you got to be excited, feeling like, the Dodgers are the team to beat, but with the arms that they have, you have to be excited about your chances to win the NL this year.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah, definitely.
So
who are your winners and losers?
John has like 8 losers, so I think we're just gonna hit.
I have like loser. You're a loser. You're a loser. You're a loser. Everyone's a loser.
Everyone.
My loser of the day is this mentality of it's not a certain. I wouldn't say it's a certain team or anything like that. I think it's the mentality of this sports mantra of like, oh yeah, let's build for the future and everything. In my opinion, I'm saying screw that. Let's win now. Mike and I were just having this conversation before, and like he was talking about like Torres may not be there next year for the Yanks and stuff like that. Look, I could care less if any of these players are there right now the way they're playing, because ultimately they're not performing to their level at all. They were in the first half, and now they can't even win a game. They luckily beat the Rays last night. Luckily beat the Rays. I say that. You know, and here's my biggest thing. I was listening to this podcast, a snippet of this podcast, Talking the Yanks, and they do the Yankee games all the time. And the guy was saying, he goes, the biggest thing for the Yankees is they are, the first 4 guys can hit, but when you're giving up 5 outs in the playoffs, that's tough. That puts a lot of pressure on your first 4 guys. And I think I said this to both of you, and I think that's huge for. Just huge in general, like ultimately. So my losers, I guess, are the Yankees, but ultimately just a mentality of, let's just play like, perform in the playoffs and then come talk to me. That's my biggest thing. If you can't perform in the playoffs and you lose every single year, then you got nothing to talk about. It don't matter to me. Yeah. And I think this mentality I've had my whole life, but I ultimately watched The Captain, which you guys should go watch. 7-part series on ESPN. And that was Jeter's mentality.
The mothership a plug? What you giving the mothership a plug for?
If they become a sponsor, we might be a show there soon. Taking over Stephen A when he retires.
There you go. We're the new First Take.
But like when you watch that, it's true. Like he was like championship or bust. Like he took and not that it was right or wrong, but like he took it so seriously like that. Like when they lost, he never took in the moments of greatness. Like when he was great, when he hit the home run in November, when he did all the good things, he never took that in because of the losses overpowered it in his mind. And I think it's okay to like celebrate your wins during the season, but it's also like, let's go, like playoff time, let's go. This is what you signed up to play in New York for. So hopefully the Yankees can turn it around. I know that was a long loser, but I guess my winner is my Philadelphia Eagles for having like I guess all my teams have the monster of monsters. Like with the Yankees having everyone over 6'5" and over, like the Eagles, Landon Dickerson 6'9", Jordan Mailata 6'9", and then now Jordan Davis 6'9", 350 pounds manhandling. So I am so excited for the season. I wish Pat Nahat was here for us, but very excited for this season. Very excited for this team. So go Birds. And Mike and I and Pat will be in Philadelphia here for week 4. So hopefully Jamie can fly up and surprise us, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, boys, I mean, speaking about football, I mean, I've been listening. I mean, we're going to shift our ways to the AFC and NFC North here soon. But what do you guys want to do? You want to do keep, trade, cut, or AFC North and AFC and NFC North?
We could do the football preview.
Okay, football. All right. So AFC, NFC North. I mean, it's a toss up, man. Like there's like literally, I don't know who. There's like one team in each of them that I think are like not even chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But like the other two, like there's
before we get to the teams on them, let's make sure that if anybody is listening, they understand that we're talking about what was the grudge conference in football, and probably still should be considered that in the AFC North, right? It's been known as a hard-nosed league, and same thing with the NFC North, right? So we're talking about the leagues where once it was whoever can run the ball the most and whoever can grind out a win is probably going to win the division. And I feel we've seen a shift with certain quarterbacks being in those divisions now, and certain receivers being on some of those teams. So I don't think they have the same personality as they once did, as that grind, blue collar conference on both sides of the ball. So I think we're talking about a shift in the entire style of the conference here, going to much more of a flashy conference. And Green Bay is being the team to beat in the NFC, even though they haven't made the Super Bowl for the past couple of years. And I'm interested to hear what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100% that these are like the blue collar conferences, in my opinion. When I look at the conferences and you look through and like, the pretty boys out west, you got the media frenzy in the east, and then you got like the blue collar workers. I call them the blue collar grudge guys in the north. When you think of like the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Lions. Just looking at their schedules, they got a tough road ahead of them each conference. I think out of we'll start off with the North, AFC North. We're in the North, right? So, ultimately, I think the Ravens are going to take that division this year. I think they've done a good job of recouping from what they've had injuries, of the injury frenzy they had last year. Baltimore is definitely, they got Lamar Jackson, but I think this is a statement year for Lamar Jackson. He hasn't really performed to MVP status since his MVP year. Granted, that was 2 years ago, but I mean, last year was filled with injuries. So I think this is a statement year. It's a contract year for him.
He added 30 pounds of muscle. He's now up to 240.
Yeah, and he's a team guy. Like, he wants to win, but he also wants to get paid too. So,
it still seems to me that he's probably the biggest superstar that represents himself in sports right now.
You think so?
Who else is an MVP of a league that represents themselves?
Oh, he doesn't have an agent?
He doesn't have an agent.
Oh, maybe. I mean, his mama's his agent.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anyone else.
Yeah. It's interesting to me that he's still just gambling on himself in that way, where he's like, no, I'll do the negotiator. And it also shows that he thinks a lot about himself to be able to do that and sit down in a room with essentially a bunch of vultures who are trying to make sure that they pull as much money back into the ownership and keep it in the franchise and not pay him out, because they're tagging him as the quintessential running quarterback still, right? But is that his fault if he's never really had, and no offense to Hollywood Brown, because Hollywood Brown's a great receiver, but has he ever really had a number one since he's been there?
Not really. I mean, not really.
I mean, Hollywood Brown, I think, would be on a team like with, the stars receivers. I think he's a 2 or 3 at best.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. Lamar just needs that guy. I mean, here's the thing: is like Lamar, I think, is a great athlete. I think he's a great quarterback. He's a great team guy. But I don't think that team has been built around him, and it's starting to. It's starting to get around him, and I think the biggest thing is making sure that he gets the help he needs in the backfield. Yeah. I think if they establish a running game early in the season is where this team will take it. If this team...
The incredible thing last year is they had that, like, they almost had running backs by committee where people could have gone down and it'd be good, and all 3 went down in the preseason.
Right.
So insane
within the 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Within the 3 weeks of the preseason, it was like 1 week after another, a new running back was hurt. So I don't blame them on that. I just think that the running game is going to be critical, because when you throw almost 7/8 of the game, it's hard to win football games. Unless like you said, not having a 1. Cincinnati, I think, falls off. Doesn't fall off. I think they just kind of like, stay consistent. Of last year, I think I have them at 10-7. I don't have them really doing anything special. I think last year was a hardworking, that type of thing. Cleveland is a mess, and then the Steelers, I just think it's a grind year, and it's all about their defense, honestly. I think we'll see Pickett at some point, but I think it's just a grind year where it's like field positions out, see where it goes. But don't be surprised if Pittsburgh comes out of nowhere and all of a sudden has this motivation and ends up being in the running for the conference. You know what I mean? Like, so don't be surprised if that happens.
Well, they have the weapons to compete still.
They do.
But I look at the conference as Cincinnati gets the benefit by not having a great secondary and not having to worry too much. If Eli Apple is your CB2, you're probably not looking at being the kind of team that could make a deep playoff run unless you could score a ton of points. And they can, because they may have the best receiving duo in the game between Jamar Chase, who's probably the most exciting receiver right now, and T. Higgins. And then you got Tyler Boyd, who's like your consummate guy who can come in and just deliver on third down situations. So that he has such a reliable receiving core. I feel like if Burrow can stop extending every play and not be the most hit quarterback in the league,
right?
I think Cincinnati probably wins this division. If he goes back to old Burrow like last year and he's beat up and he's struggling to stay healthy, they don't win without him out there. And Evan McPerfect can't they can't rely on his foot to win them every game as well. But
Mike, what's up? What do you think?
I'm just taking it all in.
Sorry, Jay, I had to cut you off. I had to get Mikey Mike in this conversation. It's just been between you and I. Mike's taking a break over here.
I'm just taking it all in. Yeah, I know. I think by far Cleveland is the only one I can't see contending for this division.
Yeah.
Because like we said, they're a mess. They were my loser last week for a reason, and it's only gotten worse. When I looked through all the schedules earlier today and kind of tried to calculate as far as like games I think they can, what their record would be if they win the games I think they can win, or the games that they have a better chance of winning than others. I have all the other three teams finishing 11-6.
Wow.
Baltimore, Cincy, no, except for Cleveland.
Every single team though, except Cleveland. Wow.
Except Cleveland. So yeah, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cincy. I think Cincy on the defensive side, I think, like you said, Eli Apple is their CB2. That's a bit of a downgrade from the kind of. I think it'll be a downgrade from the kind of performances they got last year.
Yeah.
Baltimore got better. I think their team culture is going to be better, and if they can stay healthy, like you said, at running back, that's going to be really important. I think Lamar needs to not have to run as much as you would expect a guy like him with his skill set to have to run just to stay healthy.
Yeah, but Rashawn Bateman's is one, so like everybody's gonna cover Mark Andrews and force.
He's gonna have to be a playmaker.
Yep.
But I'm talking not having to rely on Lamar breaking out for those 15, 20-yard runs.
Yeah.
You think any of these guys would have learned from the guys that before them,
right?
Like these guys like Josh Allen and everything, like everybody like that, like would have learned from Cam. Like Cam used to welcome the hits.
Oh yeah,
and that was the scary part about Cam.
First though, like he somersaults over the line, and like he was a showman. Like Cam was.
But he would welcome the hits. He wanted to light someone up. And that was like the scary part. And that's why I hope that McDaniels tells Allen the same thing. Like, hey, calm it down, or you're not going to be here very long. Like, you're going to be out for the season if you keep taking these hits. Like a lot of these guys, like Baltimore and Cincy, like. Joe Burrow can't be taking these hits, and I think Joe Burrow knows that ultimately. I think he knows that.
Yeah, but he likes to extend plays because he knows his guys can extend the play for him, and he can make almost any throw, right?
Yes.
So it's almost it's the football player in him more than it is the professional, because he's still too young to understand. Yeah, I need to play for 10 years, and but you said it earlier. He's thinking win now, right? Yeah. He's not thinking, I'm going to wait till my 5th year and they're going to build.
I'm okay with that.
They can win now.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I see Cincy winning this division this year,
by
a close margin. But I see them winning because they just got their taste. As a lot of young ages, they got their taste of how close they can be. Mm-hmm. So I think they're going to come into this year even hungrier because,
let's go. So if you think they come in hungry, though, the Super Bowl hangover doesn't apply to them. Then.
I don't think it applies to. I just think they finished exactly where they finished last year, like a low seed, not I guess high. Is it high or low seed? Whatever. But I just don't think that they're going to. I think they're just still gonna be in like the middle of the pack type of team. I don't think there's anything special about them that's very exciting. And I could be completely wrong, right? They go out 14-0 and then at 14-3, number one in the AFC, right? So who knows, right? But yeah, I don't see them. I agree with Mike. I think if Baltimore wins the division.
But at this point, is that necessarily a bad thing for Cincinnati, or is that where they want to be? They want to be that slide in, quiet.
Yeah.
Let the Ravens let the Ravens and Steelers beat up on each other, and maybe the Ravens win the division, but they work so hard to win the division that they're beat up and aren't healthy enough to get through the playoffs, while Cincy keeps themselves healthy, keeps themselves in a nice 6-7 seed position, and then like they just did this past season, run the table.
Right.
Yep.
And by then, are they smarter in how to not only get there, but how to succeed at the Super Bowl, and do they win?
Well, they are.
You know what I mean?
They had a chance.
Right.
What if the Browns sign Garoppolo the year?
Doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters.
There's such a dumpster fire of an organization. I don't think that helps.
Yeah.
Even though that defense might be the best defense in the division.
I don't think it is, but they have the best. They have one of the two best defensive players in the division, but I don't think they have the best defense.
Okay. You're talking about Watts. You're complaining Watson and
Watt and Garrett.
Yeah, and Garrett. Okay.
As far as the best single individual defensive players in the division.
All right, so let's take a look at what Vegas has for wins and losses for the year, and you guys tell me over and under, okay?
Okay.
So,
All right.
Baltimore 8 wins last season. They got them at 9.5 this year.
Over.
That one's tricky for me, but I'll go over as well because 10 and
at least 9, but I think
it's a long season, boys. I mean, ultimately, I know 16 was long. I don't know. They say one more game, but it is one more game. It's a lot. It's a long season,
right? And
then you got an extended playoffs now, and now it's like, holy shit! Like, do you really get 2 weeks in the Super Bowl? Like, really? But yeah, over.
So Cincinnati's 9.5. They won 10 last year.
Right there.
Over.
You gotta go over or under. They can't win 9.5.
Yeah, they can. They can. They actually can. They can tie.
There's a tie, yeah.
I guess, but they don't consider that a half game. They consider it
9.5.
1-1.
Oh.
They won half the game.
They
didn't lose.
You said, I know Mike said 11, so he's going over. You think they win at least 10 games again, John?
Yeah, I'll say over.
I'll say over as well. Browns 8.5. They won 10 last year.
Under.
But it's something I was having. It's something I was having a conversation with.
That depends, though, because they bring in Garoppolo. I think they can win 9 games.
I have them winning 3 games.
Wow. That's
6. I have 6.
Okay, and they actually have Pittsburgh predicted for the first time in Mike Tomlin's career to be under 500 at 7.5 wins.
Over.
So I have that over, but I put in my pick 6 and 11. But I can't see it to Mike Tomlin. I can't see a Mike Tomlin team underperforming to what he likes.
Right.
Yeah. But what was the number one mantra of John Madden? If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. Right?
Correct.
And I think they're in that predicament for the first time in 17 years where they don't.
I don't think they have 2 quarterbacks. I think they have one quarterback that's a rookie and the other one's just a fill-in. I don't think they actually have 2 that they're debating on. I think they're just basically saying, okay, the dude who's their first quarterback? I forget his name.
Mitch Trubisky.
Trubisky's a fill-in and a good fill-in for Pickett, as Pickett can learn the offense and move forward. And then once Pickett picks it up, Trubisky's back up again.
Okay, but
who do you think have a good quarterback situation?
Pickett starting by midseason.
6 games?
I go. Yeah, it depends on how the first 4 end up. I mean, if they're losing really badly and the quarterback play is terrible, then yeah. I mean,
they'll put him in. Yeah,
they'll put him in.
I actually think this is where Tomlin either steps away this year because I think they only win 7 games. So I'm going under 7 and 10.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Jay, we got some comments from Mike's cousin Gehrig. He says, hello. He goes, he has Cincy barely making it as a 7 seed, and that's Gehrig. I'm in that same boat.
Okay.
He has Cleveland has the option of Jacoby or Josh Rosen. It's not who's.
I think he means if not, who do you pick there for their quarterback? I mean, if it's not either of them, it's
Myles Garrett.
yeah, man. Honestly,
he has Baltimore over on your picks.
Yeah.
Cincy under, Browns under, Pitt over. So
you got a lot of people are underestimating Cincy.
I think everyone's underestimating Pittsburgh.
He's a partial Steelers fan, and his father is a Steelers fan.
Okay, so you can see why he went over.
Yeah.
No, but he's a smart kid, so
he is a smart kid, but.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you guys probably have the most dynamic running back in the league, not named Jonathan Taylor right now. So it should be exciting if he stays healthy to see how he can carry this team.
Najee
does. So
I mean,
Najee's a beast, man. He's gonna be the next Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
he's a monster, man. Like he came in he was walking into the facility, and we'll move to the NFC North quick, because I know you guys are excited to talk about AA Ron. But he was walking in, and they're like, Najee, how you feeling? He goes, well, I'm fat, according to the trainer, so I gotta lose the weight. He's like wearing like a wife beater, and like you can literally see his abs through there. It's like, oh yeah, you're fat. Okay, dude. Like, go somewhere, Najee.
All right, so you guys have Baltimore winning, John?
I have Baltimore winning it all. Not at all, but it's win the division.
Mike, what you got?
Cincy.
Yeah, I got Cincy as well. I think Cincy
I think a lot of people are underestimating them.
Yeah, I think their offense will click even more this year, which is scary.
Yeah.
Okay. I think they actually get to 12 wins.
Okay. All right, let's move over to the AA round
division.
Jamie, we'll do what do you think about your buddy up there in Cold Lambo?
My buddy.
Your buddy. He's your best friend.
Well, he's Tampa's. If you're Tampa, you want to play the backers. You've been beating them out the last few years. So
plus, come on, he took your hairstyle.
Yeah, I know, right?
You gotta put your bun up in the back.
Yeah, you gotta do the bun.
Come on now, you can't rock this man bun. Anyway, so funny enough, I mean, like you look at that division, and I don't see how Green Bay is still not the perennial favorites to win this year. Yeah. It's almost weird because they lose Devontae, but this might be the deepest core of receivers that Rodgers has had, where it's not okay. I'm just going to throw it up to Devontae, and even though we knew he was going to make a play, I think they're more dangerous on offense now, where there's so much like the unpredictable side of the offense. There's Lazard is steps into the RB1 position, but they have rookies contending for that 2 spot. And you got Randall Cobb, who has more chemistry with his quarterback than probably any other receiver in the league.
Yeah.
It's really interesting what might happen. And then you have that 2-headed monster of a backfield between Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. So
yeah,
I think they'll win the division easily.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And it's not even going to be close. What will be more interesting is if Detroit can contend with Minnesota for wildcard spots. I think that's interesting.
I think, and I have Detroit at 9-8 this year. Wow. I have them really stepping it up, and like because I think everyone loves Dan Campbell, and you can see it, and you can see the passion in him. You can see how he reminds me of Tennessee's coach, Mike Vrabel. Yeah. Like that type of coach in them. So I see them going 9-8, and I agree with you. I think the Packers take away. They're going to go 13-4 this year. I think losing Devontae is honestly a blessing to them. The reason why is because there's no number 1, and there's a lot of number 2s on that team. But one thing that I've noticed, I saw, and I got sick and tired of hearing, is reporters bashing Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers has been in the news, Ben, and I agree with some of the bashing. But I don't agree with the bashing of him saying, if you're not going to catch the ball, you're not going to be on the team, and you're not going to be on the field. He has every right to say that.
Yeah, that's their job.
You're an NFL player. You're not playing college. You're not playing college at Liberty University.
Yep.
Or Wagner, or Syracuse, or Michigan. You're not playing at these schools where it's okay to drop a pass, where it's not really okay, but you know what I mean. But you're in the NFL. You got drafted. You got picked. You're getting paid money now to play a good game. So step up and catch the ball. And if Aaron Rodgers is throwing it, I'll say 90% of the time it's on the money. So how are you dropping the passes? And they're ripping him apart. And then, he's not a good teammate. How do you know? You never asked it. The question was never asked to him, is he working with the guys outside of football?
Right.
All you ask is, how do you feel about this guy? He said he's doing good, but he needs to catch the ball in order to be on the field. That's all he said. And they were like, oh, he's not a good teammate and everything. That's never what he said. So I think the Packers, I think, have a solid team. For the first time in a few years, I think losing Devontae actually helped. At first, I was like, oh, they're done. But looking at the receiving core, looking at the running backs, like you said, it opens up the field because it's like, who do I cover? And if Randall Cobb is your guy that you're going to double on, well, then he's got two other speedy receivers. You know what I mean? So
I think Sammy Watkins, which is a good sign for them. But they've been talking about this Dobbs kid. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, and Rogers having a ton of chemistry. So if anybody out there playing fantasy, and if you guys are drafting, and you guys could probably won't get a chance to steal him from me because I'll take him earlier than you think if we end up playing in the league. But this Dobbs kid is going to probably be one of the breakout receivers nobody's talking about right now, because if you have a quarterback like that, like you said, who can make any throw and get you the ball in tight windows, and this kid and him have already developed a nice little chemistry here in the preseason, he'll be a standout rookie this year amongst the bigger names like Olave and everybody else that people are looking at right now. He's going to be the guy.
Yeah. No, Green Bay walks with this division. Absolutely walks with this division. I don't even have Detroit. I have Detroit coming in last in the division. I have them going 2-15. I don't. I don't see it. I know Dan Campbell. I think Dan Campbell will will them to 2 wins, but I don't. You still need to have the talent on the field, and I just don't think they have it. They don't even have a legit.
No love for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's fine, but the guy has. There's someone that has to get him the ball.
Yeah, I mean they're going to lose week 1 because that's an obvious.
Yeah, I think on top of what you guys all said,
play my birds.
Whatever. On top of everything you guys said about the Packers, which I completely agree with, I also think that nobody's talking enough about them being able to get a guy like Christian Watson in the second round. I think he's going to be a great NFL receiver. He's got a good build coming into the NFL as far as like developing as a player. And with a guy like Aaron Rodgers, how can you – he's not going to be lacking in a quarterback to help him develop.
Yeah.
So I think Christian Watson also is going to be one of the breakout receivers this year. I think he's going to be he has the potential to be a favorite target for Rodgers.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do I have? Where else do I have everybody? So, yeah, I got the Bears only winning 5 games. I got Minnesota only winning 6 games, and I have Detroit winning 2 games. But I agree with you, John. I think I have the Packers at 13-4.
Yeah.
So
I think let
me ask you guys something. I know that the most unpredictable quarterback in the league is probably Kirk Cousins. I think he's the most Jekyll and Hyde guy because he
highest of highs, lowest of lows.
In some weeks, yeah, and then he looks worse than anybody else 2 weeks later. But would you guys agree that Jefferson's the best receiver in the game right now? No.
Definitely top 10.
Amongst receivers, you're not even saying top 5?
I said definitely top 10. I'd have to think about top 5.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Automatically in your head, you want to say he's top 5.
I don't think he's better. I think
not
he's
automatically.
I actually do think he's the best in the league. God damn. Okay, I thought the Yankees gave up a grand slam. Sorry. I was like, damn, bro. I'm about to throw my remote. Yeah. No, I mean, I do. And the reason why here is because, and I see Jamie's point, he's putting up numbers with a mediocre quarterback. He's putting up numbers that you don't even see out of anybody.
2,850 yards.
Solid quarterback. If he had a solid quarterback, if he had Tom Brady, if he had, let's just say, I don't know,
Aaron Rodgers,
Jalen Hurts, because the Eagles should have drafted, because the Eagles thought that Jalen Reagor was better than, and I know you guys are so annoyed with me by it, but I say it all the time. He should be a freaking Eagle.
True, but he still wouldn't have.
He was sitting right there. We were I was sitting there and I was like, I was so happy. I was like, all right, we got Jefferson. I'm about to buy a Jefferson jersey and everything. And I was like, who the heck is Jalen Reagor? Like,
well, what you don't want the slot receiver from TCU? Why not?
I don't mind Jalen Reagor. I just think he was okay. And that's another point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie, I do agree with you. I think because of what he's done with a mediocre quarterback and a mediocre team, and be able to do the numbers and put up the numbers that he's put up is unbelievable. I
remember in his first year, Adam
that makes a great receiver, in my opinion.
Adam Thielen was crushing the league when he came in as a rookie, and everybody's like, "Oh, he'll take a backseat to Thielen," and he just came in as an alpha and was like, "Nope, give me the ball now. I'm the one. Get me the ball. I'm the new playmaker. Just find me on the field." And he's. I mean, he passed Beckham's Reno record for most yards in his first 2 seasons, and Beckham was the talk of the league, right? A lot of it was because of that catch. It's not so much because of his play. And that's what sucked for Beckham, right? It's because the guy had 2,750 yards in his first 2 years, but they're talking about one miracle catch and not the body of work. Jefferson is all about the body of work, like you said with Amico. So I think with a receiver of that caliber, big thumbs up. And Dalvin Cook is probably the most underrated running back in the league.
Underrated. You know what's funny? And I'm going to say this right now.
Yeah.
Because I think Jefferson's contract's up this year. I think he's a free agent next year.
Hold on.
Mike will find out. But if he is, I'm going to say right now, he's going to be a Cincinnati Bengal when he gets free agency.
Jefferson?
Yes, he'll join Jamar Chase.
Wow. Can you imagine that duo? Wow.
Okay, so I was gonna say, so if we do that, are we gonna have Odell and Jarvis Landry join?
No, because I think. And here's another hot take. I think Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are head and shoulders better than Odell and Jarvis Landry.
I agree. So, do we all agree that we haven't mentioned the Bears one because Justin Fields absolutely sucks? I hope you're watching Trey, and we don't even need to talk about the Bears.
Why Trey?
I think everybody around.
Trey's not a Bears fan.
But he's a former Buckeye.
Oh yeah, he was big on. Remember that in our chat? He was big on that. Yeah. I don't think it's. I think it's the team. Like that he's around. I don't think it's Justin Fields as a whole. Like I think Justin Fields is a great quarterback, and I think he can be a good quarterback. But I think the team around him, number one, and a new coach. I mean, it's going to take some time. I don't think it's going to be something that you expect him to go in there. And I mean, I obviously, to Jamie's point, what he's going to say, that's what makes a great quarterback is you can adapt in different situations. But, oh man, the Yankees are down 9-2. Go figure.
Oh, great.
I'm just going to turn
Did I jinx you guys? Or what? Is that my fault?
To answer the question, Justin Jefferson after this season has 1 year left.
Okay.
I'm saying he's going to be a Cincinnati Bengal. I'm just going to say right there.
So he has at least 1 year left. They can exercise a 5th-year option, which they will, in which case he has 2 years left.
Yeah, okay. Or if he asks for a trade.
So long story short, 2026. Going into the 2026 season is when he will be a free agent.
Never mind.
2026 or 2025 because it's 22, 23, and then 23, 24. So going into 24, 25.
He was in 2021, 21, 22. This is 22, 23.
Right.
Then 23, 24, and then an option.
Right. So the option would open up for the 24, 25 season.
Yeah.
Correct. So going into the 25, 26 season.
Yeah,
that's what you meant. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So, all right, Jamie, go ahead with the odds with Vegas.
Yeah, I just want to ask you guys first. Can you name one wide receiver that plays for the Chicago Bears?
No.
Devin Hester.
Byron Pringle.
Byron Pringle.
He was at KC last year. And N'Keal Harry. They talked to
N'Keal, yeah, that's right.
The best receiver is probably Cole Kmet, to be honest, at tight end. So.
All right, so let's just go around the horn. Hold on, Jay. Before you start that, is it all unanimous Green Bay?
Unanimous, yeah, easily.
Okay.
All right, so Chicago Bears won 6 games last year. They're at 6.5 this year.
Under.
6.5 for Bears. I have them over.
You got them at 7 wins?
8 and 9.
Okay, I got them at 7 wins, so I go over with that. Next up, we got Detroit at 6.5 as well. They won 3 last year.
Under.
Oh, wait, what? 2.5?
6.5. 6.5.
I'm gonna go over. I have them 9-8.
I want them to be 8-9 or 9-8, but I could definitely see them stumbling in games they should win. Like last year, there's 5 games they should have won, they lost. I don't think they've gotten over that hump to win close games, so I see them at 6-10 and under. Green Bay won 13 last year.
Yeah, I think they're going to be 13 this year too. So over.
Mike? Over. Yeah, I got them at 12-5. And finally, probably the biggest wild card team in the NFC this year, because Minnesota can probably either have a breakout year if everybody stays healthy and Dalvin Cook hasn't been able to, or not. They're at 9.5.
9.5?
9.5.
Under. Minnesota, you said?
Yeah.
Under.
I got
7 and 10.
I got them at 6 and 11.
I'm gonna say they stay healthy and they win 9-10 games. So I'll take the over.
Yeah, I said 7 and 10.
Because they won 8 games last year playing pretty terrible football. Like there was,
don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if they trade for Garoppolo too.
They dropped that's actually pretty awesome. They gave up the most fourth quarter leads last year of any team, with a lot of their guys who weren't on their roster to start the year. So I don't think they've fallen off that much. Their defense needs to improve. They did improve it in the draft. And because the other 2 teams, I think, are still struggling to figure out their identity, I think that they could probably win 3 of those 4
games. Look at what Mike's cousin said. He said that earlier. Did you see that last year without the last 2 minutes of the game, Vikings would be 15-2? It's true.
Yeah, but hey,
smart man.
If you're not good in crunch time.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't finish the game,
play to the whistle, right?
You guys just tuned in. We did a preview of AFC North and NFC North. We have Green Bay as our unanimous winners. 2 of us took Cincinnati in the AFC North, and John is going with Lamar Jackson's Baltimore Ravens.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So tune in next week for when we do the. What do you want to do, boys? South or the West? We're gonna do the West last, so we're gonna go to the South. Yeah, we're gonna go to the South with Jamie and I in Tampa.
Where that conversation's going.
I think it's time for we've been going back and forth for a couple weeks now. Keep, trade, cut, baseball edition. And Mike keeps playing with the damn banner, so sorry about that. Keep, trade, cut. Yes. Mikey Mike and the Funky Bunch has it.
Gather round, children. Gather around the campfire as we play.
Garrett, where are you at? Are you a baseball player, Garrett?
He is.
I need a comment. Where's he at? He fall asleep?
He might.
He fell asleep.
It is 9:30.
We gotta have like a voice. We gotta have like a call-in thing for our show.
That'd be awesome.
It would be fun.
So keep, trade, cut for the first one, of course, being myself. Baseball edition. Got 2 baseball jerseys behind me, so we're gonna do baseball. The idea of this game, for those of you that don't know, is I'm gonna give 3 names. You got to keep one, you got to trade one, and you got to cut one.
Nice.
You love baseball. Yes, first base.
Yes. So, gentlemen, I need you to choose baseball edition. Keep, trade, cut.
Who you got?
Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, and Barry
Bonds.
And Barry Bonds.
Yes. I will leave mine for last because I had time.
Mike, you pick who goes first.
I want to hear what Jay has to say about this.
Which one? I'm just joking.
There's only one of us called Jay.
Jay Money.
That's me.
Money. Grandpa Jay. I want Grandpa Jay.
Grandpa Jay in the house. You know, I actually watched Babe Ruth in my day. Since I saw Babe Ruth live, I could actually talk to.
Yes, exactly. What was he like?
I do on Babe Ruth.
Yeah, he came down to St. Lucia.
Here's why I love that you gave Babe Ruth's name. Because he got traded, he made the Yankees who they were. So I will say, and more on the adjunct that because it made the Yankees who they were, I would not change history, and I would allow that trade to happen. So even though I'm not a Yankees fan, you guys would agree with this. I would trade Babe Ruth because he shifted a team into championship contention, and then obviously Boston had to cry about it for almost 85 years, however long it was. So I would actually trade Babe Ruth so baseball would not be any different than what it was. It's hard to imagine him not in a pinstripe uniform. I would keep Willie Mays, and I would cut Barry Bonds because Bonds brought more drama to his teams, I think, once he left Pittsburgh than positive. However, he was the most exciting player in baseball that I remember watching as a young teenager with what he could do at the bat. And when he went to San Fran and there was like 18 million people in the river trying to kayak to get a ball every game, it was probably one of the more exciting things of baseball to see, not if, but when he would hit, what inning he would hit the ball into the river.
What do you mean? The steroid era was like the best era in baseball.
It was insane, bro. It was insane. It really was.
They were hitting home runs off of bunts.
I'll keep Willie Mays because you got to keep Willie Mays. I can't trade or cut him, and because of the way Babe Ruth went down, I'll trade him and I'll cut Barry Bonds.
Damn. You could hey Willie Mays.
Hey baby.
That's interesting. I like that. I mean, I'll take it. Mike, I want to know why. What's the backstory between those three? You think they're the greatest of all time in those three?
I mean, they are widely put in the top 5, and I wanted to pick like different generations of players as far as like the initial Babe Ruth, the initially thought greatest of all time outright, right? Then Willie Mays shows up, and you're like, okay, 5-tool player. You know, he might be the best of his generation. And then there's the best of his generation, whether you think steroids or not, like Barry Bonds.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Willie Mays is Barry Bonds' godfather. So
yes, he is.
And he was there for when
How can I cut the Godfather? You can't cut the Godfather.
So
he's the original. He's the OG.
He's the OG. So John, you go next.
Okay, so this is interesting because like I don't know what I would do in this situation, but I have to make a decision. So in this instance, I wasn't alive for Willie Mays, so I'm gonna trade Willie Mays.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep Bonds, and I'm gonna cut Ruth.
Wow.
Here's my reasons why. Ruth was a Red Sox, so see ya. I don't even care if you were traded. Just get your ass out of here. Yeah, hot dog eating, beer drinking, son of a gun. Just joking. No, I don't know. I've never seen him play. Obviously, I see highlights of Mays. I don't think I would. Ruth and I would kind of gel if I was a GM in this instance. I don't think we would gel. Bonds and I could go and work out together. And we could just like juice together, why not? I'm joking.
Why not?
I don't juice.
He does.
But no, I think Bonds, and here's my biggest thing with the steroid era. Yes, it gave him, bigger strength because he grew a whole nother body when he went from Pittsburgh to San Francisco. Yes, I agree 100% with that. But that still didn't give him the hand-eye coordination that baseball takes. It gave him a little bit more focus, but it didn't give him the power to see the ball hit the ball. And that's difficult. I mean, I'm watching the Yankees teams now, and it's like, hey, pop them with a few. Like, let's go. Come on, do something. Like, and it's like, and he was a very exciting player. He brought a lot of excitement. The steroid era, unfortunately, was a great time in baseball. It brought a lot of fans to the games. It brought a lot of excitement. Hey, Willie Mays, I mean, how could you hate him? I mean, I give him the respect to trade him and give him send him over to, Baltimore.
Greatest catch in baseball history, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
One of.
Yes.
At least one of. If
Bonds keep, Mays trade, and Ruth cut.
Okay.
Mikey Mike and the Funky Bunch.
Yes. So I also, on top of being able to say mine, have the privilege of being able to reveal what Mr. Cinco, Trey, and Pat in the Hat said, because I do have that information. So first, I will say mine.
More milk jug.
I would make a slight adjustment to yours, John, which is that I'm going to keep Willie Mays. I'm going to trade Barry Bonds, and I'm going to cut Babe Ruth. And I will keep Willie Mays because Willie Mays is the best baseball player ever.
Yes, he is.
In my humble opinion, he's the best. He is the best 5-tool baseball player ever. And I know there's the argument that Ruth is because he pitched too. You can't tell me that Willie Mays would not have been a good pitcher if they had let him. I believe wholeheartedly that Willie Mays could have pitched if they let him. Barry Bonds, I mean, yeah, it's just he's the best of our generation. Whether steroid era, whatever you think of the steroid era, that was, well, not Jamie's because Honus Wagner in 1906 was Jamie's. Honus Wagner name drop. But like for those of us, that grew up in the mid 90s and on, Barry Bonds was the best. And like John said, like steroids do not give you the ability, the hand-eye coordination to hit the baseball. It does not necessarily give you the speed to steal near 500 bases before you can tell he starts taking steroids. Barry Bonds was a skinny dude.
He
was a stick. And John and I were talking about it on the phone, I believe over this past weekend, if not earlier this week. Looking at his statistics, if you go on baseballreference.com, look at his statistics before you can tell he starts hitting like the 50 home run seasons, the 40, 50 home run seasons. He's still on pace to join the 500 club with 500 home runs and 500 steals. Does he break the home run record? No, but he also might push Ricky Henderson for the stolen bases record, which is insane. That's a record that might be the one baseball record that's never broken.
He's still a Hall of Famer.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
8 gold gloves.
Right. He has the most gold gloves of any outfielder ever.
Any outfielder.
I was in Roger Clemens in. He's got 5 Cy Youngs.
Exactly. Like I stuck it to without pitchers just to not get into that whole other factor of.
I think that's a whole different fact. I think it's all position by position.
That was about Pat in the Hat. That was what Pat in the Hat and Mr. Cinco.
So I can say that Mr. Cinco Trey said the same thing that I did, which was keep Mays, trade Bonds, cut Ruth. Right. Pat in the Hat had a bit of a different perspective. He decided that he would keep Ruth, trade Bonds, and cut Willie Mays.
Oh, wow.
But I got into a bit of a conversation with him, a small one, about it, and he said, we agreed, you really can't go wrong with any of them. I mean, you put any of them on your team, you're probably winning a lot of games. So, but that is the consensus seems to be to cut Ruth.
And to keep Mays. Yeah. So then Mays moves on from this week as our player that you would keep on your franchise as an all-time.
I think, so we could either do it that way or end up, each making our own top 5 with whoever you kept. But either way, like Mays is the consensus now we may have a consensus that Mays is the best baseball player ever.
According to our squad,
I mean, he had the best nickname. Hey, Willie Mays.
From the moment he hit the field, he was the say hey kid.
Yeah.
I mean,
because when you watch him play, you say hey. It's Willie Mays.
How could you hate him? But
how could you hate Willie Mays? Honestly.
Everyone that's tuning in or not tuning in right now or watching here in the future, we will be doing this every single week. Keep Trade Cut. Comment on our social pages, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and then we're on Spotify and Apple Music. Let us know your thoughts, who you would keep, who you trade and cut. Next week, Jamie's got it. And look at Garrick with the Mays trade. Mays keep trading. No, wait, what? No,
trade Bond. Keep Mays, cut Babe Ruth.
Yes. So we'll be doing this. We'll be doing this every single week. So for the next 4 or 5 weeks, and then we'll have our top 5 of all time in sports. So stay tuned next week for Jamie's picks. And I think Jamie, what are you going to do? Are you going to do Olympic? Or are you going to do just a random? Are you going to surprise?
You can do random.
I could do. It'll be Olympics or basketball most likely.
Okay.
I'll let you guys know by the end of the weekend, but it's going to go either way. So,
Okay, cool. Awesome. So, but I think it's time for
we need pyro. We seriously need pyro.
No, we don't. Pyro.
I need pyro. Listen, I have a wrestling podcast. I need pyro.
All right, Jamie. All right, Jamie. Give the description.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So this is the time when we all pretend that we know more about sports than anybody else, but we just cheat and look it up on our laptop and pretend we're not doing it. So this is how we play the game. Everybody bets 2-on-1 points at the end of the Stump the Squad round. Person who scores the most gets to give the rant of the week. Since we're down to 3 this week, it's probably going to be a potential tie. So we might have a tiebreaker. We'll see. But I'm going to have Mr. John Sawyer up there on the top kick it off this week. So, John, what question do you have to Stump the Squad this week?
What's your weight?
Two. You know, always
two. I think we should just make it 2 normally.
All right, I'll just go all twos this week.
All right. So mine was more of baseball. I've been really into this baseball kick lately. I mean, I'm a big baseball fan. If people don't know me, I'm more of a baseball fan than I am anything. Hockey second, and then golf third. So I decided to see who was the first major leaguer to hit a home run.
Ooh.
Was it Honus Wagner?
Rated too, by the way.
Oh, what are the odds?
Was it Honus Wagner, Ross Barnes, Jackie Robinson, or Babe Ruth?
I know the answer, Jamie, so you can go.
Well, Wagner seems to be, if you mentioned 1906 and he's way back beyond these guys, I'll go with Wagner.
Mike?
Hold on. Let's give it a second to see if Garrett comments.
No, go ahead.
Garrett said he took 2.
Yep, it's Ross Barnes.
It's Ross Barnes.
Well, because he looked it up.
No, because I remember seeing this fact before.
It is actually Jonathan Sawyer.
Oh, okay.
It is 600-foot blast, and I'll show you. Yeah, it's Ross Barnes. It was weird. I looked it up earlier.
You would think it's any of the other 3.
No. I mean, I looked it up earlier. It said Mike Griffin, and I was like, he played in 1957.
I was just say, oh, he played in 1957. Was he the first to hit a home run somewhere or something?
I don't know. I have no idea.
See, now you've presented.
Garrick, tell the truth. Did you look it up? I didn't know.
Honestly, he's a smart kid when it comes to baseball.
He's a very smart kid, and we need to have him on the show. But
he should probably come on.
Actually, I could legit sometime, Garrick, I will come over to your house. I live 10 minutes from him. I'll come over to your house and we'll do the show from there.
That sounds like a deal. Let's do that.
That sounds like a deal.
We'll do that at some point.
All righty. Mikey Mike, go ahead with your citrus ass freaking drink that you have over there.
You just mad because I got it right.
I'm going to. Yeah, because I tried to stump you.
Yeah.
I bet Mikey's going baseball too. Go ahead, Mikey.
I am. So go ahead.
I didn't. And Garrick says he did not. And
I believe that he did.
Just sounded like an old name.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So it's a distraction because you pick all of these Hall of Famers, and then there's a guy named Ross Barnes.
Yeah, really.
But okay, so it is a baseball question, but it's an interesting baseball question. So in 1976, MLB players Andy Messersmith and Dave McNally became the league's first ever free agents. Why? Was it A, their teams cut them? Was it B, they initially agreed to play without contracts? Was it C, they sued the league? Or was it D, they were traded to teams that couldn't pay them?
So I feel like litigation is one of the major reasons why most things started to change in sports. So I will go with they sued the league.
Say the question again, please.
So 1976. 2 MLB players, Andy Messersmith and Dave McNally, became the MLB's first ever free agents. Why did that happen? A, their teams cut them. B, they initially agreed to play without contracts. C, they sued the league. Or D, they were traded to teams that couldn't pay them.
You know, it sounds like either A or D. Would you take Jamie? C?
He took C. They sued the league.
Sued the league. I'm going to go D.
Okay, so Jamie and Garrick both say they sued the league. John says they were traded to teams that couldn't pay them.
And
gentlemen, I have successfully stumped the squad.
So it's A?
No, they initially agreed to play without contracts and were told by an arbiter that they couldn't do that, so they became free agents.
Wow.
All right.
So that automatically makes Mikey. Well, now John and Mike can tie if John gets my question right, and we can keep going.
So I got 2, and Mike's got 2.
And by rule from before, I have to go for 2.
Yes, you do.
As you guys can tell, I'm a huge baseball fan, sitting at -4. However, my question will also be along the lines of baseball this evening.
Of course.
So, gentlemen,
the best game.
Unfortunately, once upon a time, your New York Yankees looked like a 119 squad. Well, they were in line to win 119 games. That's not going to happen anymore. However, there are multiple teams that could probably still get to 100 games this year. So in the last 40 years of baseball, let's say since the beginning of the 80s, 31 teams have won 100 games. How many of those 31 went on to win the World Series? Was it 3?
You know the answer?
4?
No, but I know
6?
1.
Or 7? Was it 3, 4, 6, or 7 of the 31 teams that have won 100 games since 1980 that went on to win the World Series? 3, 4, 6, or 7?
I do know all the teams that have won 100 games since 1980.
All 30. That's impressive.
Yeah. I know the World Series back to 86.
Ready, Mike. You got to go.
I actually don't know that.
6, or 7.
I actually don't know that. I'm going to go with 4.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with 6.
And your cousin says?
4.
What's your guess down there, D-Money? 4. Man, your cousin knows baseball. John, unfortunately, Mikey Mike wins, stumped the squad once again. The answer is 4 teams.
I got
you. Since 1980.
Hold on, Mike. I'm doing it.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'll tell you what, though. Here's what my tiebreaker would have been. Let me see if you guys would have guessed it. 112 teams have won 100 games in the history of the game. 67 of them went on to win the World Series. How many of those 67 won the World Series? Yes.
0.
Come on, bro. Can't be 0.
I didn't hear your question. I
112 teams have won 100 games in the history of the game. 67 of those 112 went to the World Series. How many out of those 67 went on to win the World Series?
26.
26. John, what would you say?
27.
37 is the answer.
Okay. So
wait, what?
John wins that by Price is Right rules.
Right, yeah. Mikey Mike with the win and the rant of the week.
Yes. Rant of the week. Rant of the week for yours truly. Well, there are a few topics I could talk about. That honestly, a couple of them at least I don't want to touch. So what we're going to go with is something that actually came out this afternoon. So one of the biggest NHL free agents that was remaining out there after a crazy NHL free agency about a month ago was a guy named Nazem Kadri. Reigning Stanley Cup champion, was a big part of that Colorado Avalanche team, was a tough guy that could also score goals, move the puck well. Great player. He signed today a 7-year deal with the Calgary Flames. Everybody was wondering where he was going to go. Like I said, he was one of the biggest guys left out there, and everybody was wondering what was taking him so long. He signed a 7-year deal with the Calgary Flames, right? Say, Mike, that's not that bad, except for the weird part is when the Toronto Maple Leafs were getting ready to trade him to the Colorado Avalanche, they initially had it agreed upon trade to the Calgary Flames. And Kadri said no. He said, I don't want to go to Calgary. So the Calgary Flames have apparently done something to change Nazem Kadri's mind, because just
what's the contract?
About one calendar. Oh, well, that's the thing. About one calendar year ago, Nazem Kadri said, no, I don't want to be a Calgary Flame. And now fast forward a year, and he's like, oh, I absolutely want to be a Calgary Flame. Oh, yeah, the contract is 7 years worth $7 a year. So 7 years, $49 million total.
That's why. He probably wanted that money. I don't know what happened to Jamie, but Jamie left us here.
Jamie has departed. I think he heard hockey and ran for the hills. But yes, so that was the weird thing that happened today. Apparently, 1 year makes a whole lot of difference. Maybe 1 year in a Stanley Cup championship.
That's weird though. Says Gehrig. And
yeah,
Gehrig,
exactly right.
Gehrig was rooting against me. Wow. After I said I wanted you on the show,
should have came to the Kraken. He is. I have actually.
Boy, your cousin is like.
Yeah,
he's about to be Mr. Cinco.
Yeah, speaking of one calendar year, it was about a calendar year ago. I got Gehrig to be a Seattle Kraken fan. We were at the beach when I did it.
Yes, you did. I remember you telling me the story. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty weird. That's a weird stat, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. That is a weird stat. But hey, man, I mean that's definitely a great rant and definitely a great show this week. Everyone that's tuning in, Gary, thank you for tuning in. We have a lot going on over the next few months. We got college football, NFL, of course, then NBA and NHL starts back up. Yes. And then we have a whirlwind in the World Series. Who's going to be there, right?
You mean the Yankees?
We have a ton to talk about.
Yes.
So tune in next week. We have the NFC, AFC South. We have Keep Trade Cut, and Jamie's going to be there of either Olympic or basketball. But stay tuned. And, of course, comment. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know who you would keep, who you would trade cut, and then who your picks are in the North. But my name is Jonathan Sawyer, with me and my boy Mike DeSanto. Jamie fell off his bed, I think. We'll see you guys next week. Remember to like on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. We'll see you next Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Have a good night, everyone.
Goodbye.